I woke up with my heart racing, sunlight spilling through the window like it was celebrating with me. Today's it, I whispered to myself. Today, she becomes mine officially. I swung my legs off the bed and caught a glimpse of my reflection. My suit hung perfectly. My mom had insisted on ironing it herself. Ion, I called, fumbling with my tie. Where are you? He appeared in the doorway, grinning. Panicking already, huh? Thought I'd give you some privacy to cry like a little baby first? Shut up, I muttered, straightening my tie. I'm fine. Nervous? Sure, but fine. Nervous? He raised an eyebrow, stepping into my room. You've been rehearsing your vows for a week. You're jittering like a caffeinated squirrel. I groaned. It's just today. It's huge. She's Mayra. I shook my head, trying to control the flutter in my chest. AYA and laughed. She's lucky, man. And lucky she's not here to see this mess. Speaking of which, did she call you this morning? I paused. My phone hadn't buzzed yet. No asterisk, but she said she'd be ready early. Probably just busy with her mom. Busy, huh? Ion teased. Or maybe she's planning a dramatic last-minute escape. You're sweating like it's a marathon. Stop it, Ion, I said, though I smiled despite myself. He always knew how to break the tension. She won't run. She wouldn't do that. She loves me. I glanced at the mirror again. May Relegant, radiant, the woman who had been my everything for the past 2 years. My chest tightened, imagining her smile, the way she tucked a strand of hair behind her ear. But something lingered in my mind. Her text last night had seemed off. Short, detached. I pushed it away. Wedding nerves, I told myself. That's all it was. Footsteps on the stairs made me jump. She's up, Ion whispered, nudging me toward the door. Mayra appeared in the hallway, dressed in a soft pastel robe. Her hair was pinned loosely, her face glowing, but her eyes, they were distant. Morning, she said softly, barely meeting my gaze. Morning. I beamed, walking toward her. You look amazing, thanks, she murmured. She smiled faintly, then turned to her mom for something. I swallowed, trying not to let the unease show. Are you nervous? I asked, leaning a little closer. She shook her head, still distracted. A little, but it's okay. I nodded, though a small knot tightened in my stomach. Ion elbowed me lightly. See, nothing to worry about except maybe that blank stare. Looks like someone's planning a dramatic entrance. Not a wedding. Not funny, I muttered, though part of me laughed. We moved to check the decorations and final touches. I kept glancing at Mayra. Each time she looked away, my heart skipped. But every time she smiled, Devon faintly, I felt hope surge. This day it's going to be perfect, I said aloud. More to myself than anyone, Ion smirked. You'd better be right, or I'm making you sleep on my couch for the rest of the week. I chuckled, shaking my head. But deep down, I clung to the warmth of this morning, the excitement bubbling through me, and the love I felt for her. Whatever doubts I had, I pushed them aside. Today, everything would be perfect. We pulled up to the registry office, and I felt my chest tighten. The building looked ordinary, but inside, excitement buzzed like electricity. Couples smiled, photographers clicked, and my stomach churned. Here we go, my dad said, adjusting his tie. Big day, son. You ready? Yeah, I said, though my voice sounded shaky even to me. Mom patted my shoulder. You look handsome. Just remember to breathe. And smile. I will, I said, trying to force confidence into my tone. Ion leaned over from the back seat. Relax, man. Worst case scenario, they'll all cry at your vows, and you'll look heroic. No pressure. I laughed nervously. Thanks for the pep talk, genius. Inside, the air smelled faintly of flowers and polished wood. Couples chatted, brides adjusted veils, and grooms straightened ties. I smiled at the scene, imagining myself walking down that small aisle. But the smile faded quickly when I glanced at the empty space where Mayra should have been. She's late, I muttered, tapping my phone. Ion frowned. Late. She said she'd be here early. Did she text? No, I said, scrolling through my phone again. Nothing. Not a word. Mom frowned. Maybe traffic? Or nerves? Yeah, that's all, I replied, though my gut twisted. I tried calling her, my hands trembling slightly. Straight to voicemail. Don't panic, Ion whispered, nudging me. Maybe she's just caught up. Deep breaths, my man. I shook my head, my eyes scanning the room. Couples laughed and hugged, sharing happiness I should have been feeling. Instead, anxiety gnawed at me. I imagined Mayra walking in any second, radiant and smiling, and yet something felt wrong. Should we wait? I asked, pacing near the entrance. Of course we wait, Dad said firmly. But sit for a minute. You'll wear yourself out pacing like that. I sank into a chair, but my fingers drummed nervously on my knees. I sent her a text. Where are you? Are you okay? No reply. Ion leaned forward. Man, I hate this. You think she'd text something by now? Something small? Anything I know, I muttered. I just can't understand why she'd be this late. Mom's voice was gentle. Maybe she's nervous. Weddings are overwhelming. I nodded, but doubt crept in. My mind raced through possibilities, none of them comforting. Was it traffic, nerves, or something else? I called her again, holding the phone tightly. Straight to voicemail again. My stomach sank like a stone. Ion sighed, rubbing my shoulder. This is not good. I mean, people are starting to stare. Not because you're ugly, but you know. I forced a laugh. Great, now I'm a spectacle. Perfect. A staff member approached, clipboard in hand. Are you Mr. Hassan? Yes, I said quickly. Your ceremony is ready. You may step inside when you're ready. The bride, he paused, glancing at the hallway. She hasn't arrived yet. I swallowed hard, heart pounding. Of course, Ion muttered under his breath. Of course. Just as we feared, I sank into my chair, trying to calm the storm inside me. The registry office felt alive with joy, yet I was trapped in growing dread. I kept my phone close, hoping for her message, her smile, anything. And then the door opened. My head snapped up. Every eye turned toward the entrance. My heart leapt until I saw it wasn't Mayra. Not yet. A deep pit of panic settled in my chest. The door opened, and my heart leaped. Mayra. Finally, relief flooded me until I saw her face. She looked pale, distant, and cold. Not the woman I'd married in my dreams. Mayra. I stepped forward, voice trembling. Where have you been? Everyone's been waiting. Why didn't you tell me? She avoided my gaze, eyes fixed on the floor. I can't. What do you mean you can't? My voice cracked. This is our day. We've planned this, everything. She shook her head slowly. I can't do this. Not today. Not ever. What? I took a step closer, panic rising. Mayra, look at me. You're scaring me. We're supposed to be getting married today. I'm sorry, she whispered. Her voice was soft, almost inaudible, yet it hit me like a punch. I can't marry you. I don't love you anymore. I never should have agreed. I froze. My mouth went dry. You what? You're joking, right? No joke, she said firmly, taking a small step back. I can't lie to myself or to you. I thought I could, but I can't. I shook my head, disbelief clawing at me. But we've been planning this for months. Your family, my family, everyone is here. She sighed and looked away. I know, I'm sorry. I thought it would be easier to tell you quietly, but I can't. I just can't. I felt my knees weaken. Who is it? Someone else. The words slipped out before I could stop them. She didn't answer immediately. Instead, her confidant, some woman I'd never met, stood behind her, nodding slightly, avoiding my gaze. The look between them made my blood run cold. I stopped, choking on my words. I don't understand. Why now? Why like this? Mayra's hand trembled slightly as she pushed open the door. I'm leaving. I'm so sorry. I didn't want to hurt you here, but I can't stay. Wait. Mayra, don't. My voice broke, echoing in the registry office. People were staring. Whispers filled the room. Her lips pressed together, and she shook her head. I have to. I ran toward her, heart pounding. Mayra, please, I love you. I love you. You don't understand, she said, her voice firm despite her trembling hands. I've changed. I can't do this. I'm sorry. She stepped outside, her confidant following silently. I felt like someone had ripped the floor from under me. I stood frozen, staring at the door, unable to move, unable to think. My world had shattered in a single moment. Ion grabbed my shoulder, shaking me gently. Hey, man. You're okay. Breathe. Look at me. I turned toward him, tears welling up. She left, right in front of everyone. She walked out on our wedding day. How could she? I don't know, man, Ion said softly, rubbing my back. I don't know, but you'll get through this. I swear you will. I sank into a chair, my head in my hands. The registry office buzzed around me at polls, smiling, staff asking questions, but I couldn't hear them. I couldn't see them. All I could see was her face, pale and distant, disappearing into the crowd outside. Why didn't I see it coming? I muttered to myself. Was it the way she looked at me last night? The text messages. Was it all just fake? Ion crouched in front of me. Stop blaming yourself, man. You didn't do anything wrong? She made her choice. That's on her. I shook my head, disbelief and humiliation warring inside me. I'm standing here alone. Everyone's watching. How can she do this to me? To us? She's gone, Ion said quietly. All you can do now is breathe. One step at a time. You'll survive this. I nodded slowly, though the ache in my chest wouldn't go away. The world felt heavy, every sound distant, every smile around me mocking. I sat there, trying to process the impossibility of what had just happened. She had walked out, leaving me in the registry office, in front of everyone, utterly alone. I closed the door behind me and let it slam. The apartment was quiet, almost mocking in its normalcy. I sank onto the couch, burying my face in my hands. My chest ached, my head spun. How could she just leave? How could Mayra, the woman I trusted with everything, walk away like it was nothing? My phone buzzed. Ion, of course. Hey, you there? His voice was cautious, like he was stepping on eggshells. I'm here, I muttered, not looking up. You need me to come over? I don't know, I said. My voice sounded hollow even to me. I can't, I don't want to see anyone. You don't have to face it alone, he said softly. I'll be there in 10. 10 minutes later, there was a knock. I didn't answer at first. Another knock. Open up, man. I know you're in there, and I'm not leaving until you do. I sighed and opened the door. Ion stepped inside, hands in his pockets, eyes scanning me. You look destroyed, you think. I don't know that. I snapped, voice rising. I just watched the woman I love walk out on me on our wedding day on. You're telling me I look destroyed? I'm saying it's okay to be destroyed, he said, raising his hands. You're allowed to feel everything. But yelling at me isn't going to fix it. I laughed bitterly, shaking my head. Fix it. Nothing can fix it, she lied. Every smile, every promise, was it all fake? Don't blame yourself, Ion said firmly. You did nothing wrong. She made her choice. I trusted her. I shouted, pacing the room. I gave her everything, my heart, my plans, my life, and she throws it all away like it's nothing. I know, he said quietly. I get it. But tearing yourself apart won't help. I can't just sit here and do nothing, I said, fists clenching. She was supposed to be mine. Ion sighed and pulled up a chair. Look, I'm not saying it's fair. I'm not saying it makes sense. But you have to start somewhere. You can't let this break you completely. I slumped onto the couch, burying my face again. Memories flooded in our first date. The way she laughed when I tripped over my words. The nights we spent planning this wedding. Each memory felt like a cruel joke now. She smiled at me yesterday, I whispered, voice cracking. She told me she loved me. She meant it, didn't she? I don't know, Ion admitted. I wish I did. But what matters is what you do now, not what she did then. I shook my head. I can't think. I can't breathe. Everything's spinning. Breathe with me, he said gently. I closed my eyes and let his voice guide me. Slowly, the storm in my chest eased just a little. Then my eyes fell on the envelope on the coffee table or a wedding invitation. I hadn't even looked at it since I got home. My fingers trembled as I picked it up. The elegant font, the date we were supposed to say I do it all, mocked me. She left me with this, I muttered, staring at it. A symbol of everything I trusted, everything I believed in, gone. You're allowed to be angry, Ion said softly. You're allowed to grieve, but don't lose yourself in it. You're stronger than you think. I don't feel strong, I whispered. I feel empty, used. Stupid for believing in her. You're not stupid, he said firmly. You loved. That's not a weakness. That's who you are. And you'll get through this, even if it doesn't feel like it now. I nodded slowly, still staring at the invitation. The paper felt heavy in my hands, heavier than it had any right to be. Everything I had planned, everything I had hoped for, shattered in a single day. Ion placed a hand on my shoulder. I'm not going anywhere. Not now, not ever. We'll get through this together. I didn't answer. I just let him sit with me, letting the silence hold the pain, letting the memories sting, letting the weight of betrayal settle in my chest. And yet somewhere deep down, I knew I had to survive this. Somehow. I tried to focus on work, but every message, every whisper seemed to hit me like a hammer. Hey, did you hear about Mayra? Rashid, a colleague, leaned casually against my desk, as if gossiping was harmless. What about her? I asked, keeping my voice steady, though my chest tightened. She apparently didn't just leave. I heard she's seeing someone else. I laughed, hollow and bitter. That's impossible. She wouldn't do that. She can't. Rashid shrugged. I don't know, man. People are saying she was spotted with some guy downtown, looking cozy. I mean, I wouldn't believe it if I didn't hear it from 3 different people. 3 people? I whispered, gripping the edge of my desk. Who does it matter? He said, raising his eyebrows. Point is, she's moved on. Nor already was. Sorry, man. Didn't mean to stop, I said sharply. Just stop. I need facts, not rumors. I'm just telling you what I hear, Rashid muttered, looking uneasy. Check your phone. Some of the guys online are talking about it too. I didn't wait. My fingers shook as I scrolled through messages, social media posts, and photos. There she was, smiling with someone else, arms wrapped around him, laughing. My stomach twisted. I can't believe this, I muttered aloud. I can't. I gave her everything, hey, Rashid said cautiously. You okay? I'm not okay. I snapped, standing up. She left me on our wedding day, and now this. Is this some kind of joke? Rashid flinched but stayed calm. I don't think it's a joke. I think it's real. But you need to breathe before you do something you'll regret. I shook my head, pacing. Breathe? How can I breathe when the woman I trusted, the woman I was supposed to marry, is with someone else? Look, man, I get it. I really do, Rashid said, hands raised. But lashing out won't help. You need a plan, not panic. A plan? I echoed bitterly. What plan? Confront her. Humiliate her like she humiliated me? Rashid didn't answer. He just looked at me silently. His expression said he understood. Later, I ran into a friend from college. Hassan, hey, are you okay? Not really, I muttered, voice tight. He lowered his voice. I saw her, Mayra. She was with someone else. Downtown cafe. They were well, you know. My head spun. I can't process this. How? Why would she? People are complicated, he said quietly. She's got her reasons. Doesn't make it right, though. I clenched my fists, rage bubbling underneath the shock. I trusted her. I loved her. And she just discarded me. For him? I know, my friend said softly. I'm sorry, man. I walked home in silence, the city lights blurring through my tears. Every step, every memory of her haunted me. I replayed our moments together, the laughter, the promises, the plans, and contrasted them with the photos I'd seen. She lied, I whispered to myself. She lied about everything. Every smile, every word. Was it all for him? I slammed my apartment door, dragging my hands down my face. A thought crept into my mind. Vengeance. Not just confronting her, but showing her that I wouldn't be destroyed. That I could rise above this. But how? What could I do? I wasn't sure. My mind was a storm of disbelief, anger, and despair. Rashid's warning echoed in my ears. You need a plan. Not panic. I sank onto the couch, staring at the wall, imagining Mayra's face with that other man. My heart burned. But a seed of determination planted itself somewhere deep inside. I would need to be careful. Smart, strategic, and I would make sure she understood. Eventually, that betrayal came with consequences. I dialed her number, my hand shaking despite my attempt at calm. The line rang once, twice, then she picked up. A hello? Her voice was soft, hesitant. Mayra, we need to talk. Now? My voice was steadier than I felt. I don't think that's a good idea, she said, almost pleading. It's the only idea I have, I snapped, heat rising. Where are you? I'm coming. There was a pause. I'm at the park near the cafe. Please, just come alone. 10 minutes later, I was standing in front of her, the autumn breeze tugging at my jacket. She looked smaller, somehow fragile, yet defiant. Mayra, I started, but she raised a hand. Don't. Just listen. Listen. Listen to what? That you abandoned me on our wedding day? That you lied about your feelings? Her eyes glistened, and she swallowed hard. I didn't mean to hurt you. I thought I could do this, but I can't. My feelings, they've changed. I'm in love with someone else. The world tilted. My chest tightened, but I forced my voice into controlled anger. Someone else? On our wedding day. You're telling me you stood there, knowing my family, my friends, everyone, and you what? Smiled and lied? I never wanted to hurt you. She cried, tears spilling now. I thought I was doing the right thing, but I just can't lie anymore. Doing the right thing? I spat, stepping closer. Do you have any idea how that feels? To trust someone with everything, and they throw it all away? I know, she whispered. And I hate myself for it. Then why? I demanded, gripping the edge of a bench. Why not tell me before today? Why not let me go before I stood there, humiliated? I was scared. She shouted suddenly, surprising me. Scared of losing you, scared of being judged, scared of admitting I didn't love you the way I used to? You mean scared of admitting the truth? I cut her off, voice sharp. You didn't think about me once. You thought only about your fear. She flinched. I didn't want to hurt you. I thought I could manage it, pretend to be happy for both our sakes. You pretended. My hands shook. Everything, every plan, every promise, every word, was it all a performance? I'm sorry, she whispered, voice breaking. I truly am, I inhaled, forcing myself to remain composed. Anger bubbled beneath the surface, but I couldn't let it consume me. Sorry doesn't fix this, Mayra. It doesn't erase standing there alone, looking like a fool. I know, she said, tears streaming down her cheeks. I understand if you never forgive me. I just couldn't continue the lie. I looked at her, at the fragile, conflicted woman before me, and realized this was the moment of choice. Fight for her? Forgive? Or something else entirely? You know what? I said slowly, voice steady, cutting through the knot in my chest. I won't be humiliated quietly again. Not by you. Not by anyone. Her lips trembled. Hassan, please, no, I interrupted gently, but firmly. I won't waste another breath begging for someone who left me. You made your choice. I made mine, she nodded, defeated. The truth of her selfishness laid bare. I could see regret, yes, But it didn't erase the betrayal. I hope, I said. It's taken a step back. You understand what you've done. I hope it haunts you, because it should. But I won't let it break me. Her head dropped, and she didn't respond. Silence stretched between us. Heavy, final. I turned, walking away with my chest tight, tears threatening but my mind clear. I had been the victim, yes, but not anymore. From this moment, I decided I would rise, rebuild, and no one would humiliate me again. And with that thought, I felt something I hadn't in days, a spark of strength, a seed of power. Betrayal had wounded me, but it wouldn't define me. I left her there, standing in the park, a conflicted human mess, and walked toward my own future. I sat in my apartment, staring at my phone, replaying the images, the messages, the memory of Mara's face when she confessed. Anger still burned in my chest, but beneath it, a cold clarity settled. I wouldn't cry, I wouldn't beg, I certainly wouldn't let her ruin me quietly. Ion, I said, pacing, I need a plan. He raised an eyebrow, leaning against the doorframe. Plan? This isn't a movie, man. What are you thinking, spying on her? Not just spying, I said, gripping the edge of the table. Observation, timing, subtle exposure. She humiliated me publicly. I want to reclaim my dignity, make it known I'm not someone to discard lightly. He smirked, but didn't dismiss me. Okay, I'm listening. Go on. I start with watching them, I explained, voice low, measured. Not stalking, not in a criminal sense, just knowing what they do, where they go. When they're together, patterns, everything. You're turning into Sherlock, Ion said with a chuckle. Fine, I'll help. What's next? Next, I collect proof, I said, pacing faster. Subtle hints, small truths, nothing that breaks laws, but enough to expose the lie she's living. Show people who she really is, without me looking like I'm bitter or desperate. Controlled exposure, Ion repeated. I like it. Cold, clever, efficient. Exactly. I stopped pacing, feeling the fire sharpen into focus. I want her to feel that her actions have consequences. I won't hurt her physically, but socially, emotionally, is. I'll reclaim my name, my respect. Ion nodded, understanding. And when you do this, you need to stay calm. Never show she affects you. Every move should look effortless, confident. People will notice. That's the key, I said, rubbing my hands together. She needs to see that I've moved beyond her, that her betrayal didn't destroy me. That will be the ultimate blow. Have you thought about the new guy? Ion asked cautiously. I don't even know his full name yet, I admitted. But he's part of the strategy. The more I understand him, the better I can position things. He's the reason she walked out. He's the weak link. Ion laughed softly. You're ruthless, man. But I get it. She left you humiliated. You have every right to defend yourself. I smiled, a dark, calculating smile. Ruthless isn't the same as reckless. Every step must be precise. I can't afford mistakes. Emotions will only ruin this. I channel them into observation, planning, patience. I sat down, pulling my laptop closer. I start by following her social media patterns, checking the places she frequents, and gathering mutual connections. Anything that could reveal the truth without tipping her off. If she thinks I'm broken, she'll never suspect. Meanwhile, Ion added, I'll help you brainstorm scenarios. How to expose, what to reveal, when to step back. Think of me as your strategic partner in crime. I grinned, feeling a spark of energy I hadn't felt since the walkout. Good. I want subtlety, elegance, and impact. Every move calculated to protect my dignity and challenge theirs. No rash moves, no public scenes, everything in my control. And patience, Ion said. Don't forget that. This isn't about revenge in a moment. It's about winning the long game. Yes, I whispered, almost to myself. The long game. I won't be humiliated quietly ever again. I'll expose the truth, show my strength, make sure they both regret underestimating me. I leaned back, staring at the ceiling, letting the plan crystallize in my mind. The hurt still lingered, but now It had a purpose. Each insult, each betrayal, each lie became fuel. I wasn't just surviving. I was preparing to reclaim my dignity, to rise from this heartbreak stronger, sharper, and untouchable. And when the time comes, I said quietly, they'll see what happens when someone underestimates me. Ion nodded solemnly. I'm with you, man. Every step, I looked at him and felt something I hadn't felt in weeks. Control. Not anger, not despair, not helplessness. Control, and that control would be my weapon. I walked into the cafe where Mayra, her new partner, often met. From a corner table, I observed them, letting my presence go unnoticed. She smiled at him, leaning in, completely absorbed. But I noticed the subtle signs, nervous glances, forced laughter. Tiny contradictions in their stories. I sent a text to Ion, watching, patterns emerging. Prepare for phase 1. His reply came quickly. Got it? Keep calm. Subtlety. I took a sip of my coffee, pretending to scroll through my phone, but every detail was logged in my mind. When Mayra looked up, our eyes met for a fraction of a second. She quickly looked away, a flash of unease crossing her face. Later, at work, I casually mentioned an event she had supposedly attended with her new partner. Funny, I saw a photo from last week. Wasn't that you at the gala? I asked a colleague who was chatting with her friend. She wasn't there, the colleague said, frowning. I thought she went, but now their uncertainty was delicious. I smiled politely. Maybe I misread, but the seed of doubt was planted. Ion leaned over during lunch. Nice. That subtle nudge is working. People are starting to notice inconsistencies. I can't let them suspect it's intentional, I murmured. I need to stay composed, calm, confident. That's half the effect. Days passed. Every social interaction became a stage. I smiled politely when Mayra passed by, never revealing my awareness. But I carefully placed subtle hints mentioning events, dropping casual questions, referencing small details that contradicted her stories. At a mutual friend's dinner, I casually asked, so you two met at the gallery opening? Last Friday, right? Mayra froze, her partner stiffened. Yes, well, no. We went Saturday, maybe Friday. I raised an eyebrow, smiling faintly. Ah, memory can be tricky sometimes. Happens to all of us. Their discomfort was almost palpable. Friends whispered, exchanged glances, and I watched their expressions closely. Doubt was creeping in, quietly, naturally. I felt a thrill at every micro-reaction. Back home, I recounted every observation to Ion. She's slipping. Her control is faltering. People are noticing the cracks. Good, he said. Don't push too hard. Let it unravel slowly. Maximum effect with minimum effort. At work, a minor incident occurred. Mayra's friend asked about an appointment she supposedly attended. I thought you were at the spa with her, the friend said. Her new partner hesitated. Maybe we changed plans? I smiled politely from across the room. Every pause, every small stumble in their stories was like a reward. I didn't need to speak. Their facade was cracking on its own. Later that evening, I walked past the cafe again. Mayra looked up when she saw me, and for a split second, the confident mask faltered. She quickly returned to her phone, but I noticed the tension in her shoulders, the tightness in her jaw. This is working, I whispered to myself. Subtle, precise, psychological. Ion's text buzzed. Phase 1 complete. Observe Phase 2 triggers. I leaned back, sipping my coffee, eyes never leaving her. The thrill wasn't in public humiliation. It was in the careful, controlled orchestration. I wasn't reckless. I wasn't cruel. I was precise. Every small slip, every hesitant word, every glance that betrayed guilt and fear, it was evidence of their unraveling, and I remained the calm center, untouchable, in control. I realized something then. Revenge wasn't about anger anymore. It was about reclaiming power, dignity, and self-respect. The knowledge that I could orchestrate this, while remaining composed, fueled me. Mayra had underestimated me. She had thought I would crumble quietly. She hadn't accounted for patience, intelligence, and subtlety. And now, she would learn without me saying a word that betrayal has consequences. And the one she underestimated the most wasn't broken at all. I watched from a distance as Mayra and her new partner entered the cafe. They didn't notice me at first, but I noticed everything: her forced laughter, its uneasy glances, the tension crackling between them. "Are you sure we should have said that?" he whispered nervously, glancing around. "I told you it's fine," she replied, voice tight. "Nobody cares. Just relax." I raised an eyebrow silently. Relax? They were unraveling before my eyes. Later, I overheard a colleague muttering near the counter. "Didn't she lie about her plans last week? Something about a work event." Her partner stiffened. Maybe we forgot to mention it?" Mayra's face paled. I sipped my coffee slowly, savoring the subtle collapse. All without a single word from me. After a few minutes, Mayra noticed me. She froze mid-step, eyes wide, lips slightly parted. "Hassan?" she whispered, voice shaking. I smiled faintly, calm, composed. "Hello, Mayra. She started, but he stepped in. She's fine. Nothing, just, hello." "Hello," I said again, soft but piercing. "I see you've been busy. Adjusting your story? Keeping people in the dark? That must be exhausting." Her lips trembled. I didn't want it to... You didn't want to hurt me." "Right," I said, voice steady. "But your choices speak louder than your intentions." "Actions matter, Mayra. People notice inconsistencies," her partner stammered. We didn't mean exactly," I interrupted. "You didn't mean to, but you did. Every lie, every cover-up, every attempt to mask your betrayal, it's crumbling." Mayra looked away, guilt flashing across her face. "Hassan, I'm sorry. I truly am. I didn't want it to reach this point." "I never thought you'd forgive me?" I asked quietly. "No, this isn't about forgiveness anymore. It's about consequences. And right now, you're seeing them firsthand." Her partner swallowed hard. We just wanted to be happy. Happy." I echoed, voice low but cold. "By hurting someone else? By discarding loyalty and trust like it's nothing?" He opened his mouth, closed it, then muttered, "We didn't mean, we didn't realize." Mayra's shoulders shook. "I never wanted to hurt anyone. I just got lost in feelings. Fear lost in selfishness," I said, calm but firm. "You may think it excuses anything, but it doesn't. People see the cracks. They notice when you falter. And you faltered spectacularly." Her gaze dropped to the floor. I didn't expect it to get so public. "I thought I could manage." "You managed nothing," I replied quietly. "Your lies are unraveling." And I watch Mayra, not with glee, but with clarity. I see the consequences, and I see the truth. You can't hide from it anymore. Her partner muttered something incoherent, panic rising. I realized they were both trapped in the tension they had created themselves. She whispered again, voice breaking. "I never wanted it to come to this." "I didn't know," I said gently, almost pitying. "You did. You just didn't care enough to think ahead. And now you're seeing what that means." I looked away, heart tight. Satisfaction mingled with sorrow. I hadn't wanted to hurt her like this. But justice didn't require cruelty. It required observation, patience, and letting truth do its work. Ion's text buzzed, watching from afar, impressive control. I smiled faintly. Am I happy? I asked myself, internally. Part of me ached for the love I lost. Another part relished the equilibrium, the restoration of dignity. I felt both haunted yet empowered. Mayra lowered her eyes completely. Her partner's hands trembled. And I, silent, composed, morally complex, knew the reckoning was complete. Not by my hand, but by the truth itself. I stood, leaving them to their unraveling. Knowing I had observed, endured, and preserved my integrity, justice had arrived quietly, subtly, without my overt interference, and I walked away, carrying both the weight of heartbreak and the clarity of control, I agreed to meet Mayra at a quiet park, the same place where our confrontation had begun weeks ago. The air was crisp, carrying the faint scent of autumn leaves. She arrived, hesitating, unsure, but composed enough to meet my gaze. "Hassan," she said softly, voice almost a whisper. "Hi, Mayra," I replied, keeping my tone calm. "Sit." She nodded, lowering herself onto the bench across from me. Silence stretched for a few moments. But it was not awkward, just heavy with things left unsaid. I wanted to see you one last time," she began, hands fidgeting in her lap. "To explain if I can." I leaned back, observing her. "I think I already understand, Mayra. You made your choices, and you faced the consequences." She nodded slowly. I know I hurt you. More than I realized. I thought I could manage my feelings. But I couldn't. I can't imagine how that felt standing there alone. Knowing I walked out, it was devastating, I admitted, voice quiet but firm. But pain alone doesn't define me anymore. What defines me is what I do with it. And I chose clarity, patience, and strength over bitterness. Tears threatened her eyes. "I never wanted to destroy you. I lost myself. I thought love could be enough, but I was selfish. Scared I can see that now," I said gently. "I understand the human flaw, the fear, the selfishness. But understanding doesn't mean condoning. Actions have consequences. You felt them, publicly and privately." "I did," she whispered. "Every day. And I regret it, Hassan. I regret the humiliation, the lies, everything." I nodded, letting her words sink in. "And that's enough for me, Mayra. I don't need apologies to validate myself anymore. I've taken my own power back. I'm not here to punish you. I'm here to close the chapter." Her lips trembled. You forgive me?" I smiled faintly, a calm, mature smile. "I forgive in my heart. Yes. I let go of the resentment. But forgiveness doesn't mean reconciliation. I can't erase what happened. I won't invite that pain back into my life." Her eyes glistened with tears, a mix of relief and sorrow. I wish I could have been stronger. I wish I'd been honest sooner." "You deserved that. You're honest now," I said quietly. "And that's what matters. I've learned to value myself over what others think or do. I've learned that strength comes from within, not from their validation." She nodded, finally releasing a deep breath. I hope you find someone who loves you completely, who deserves your trust fully." "I will," I replied, voice steady. "But right now, I'm learning to love myself fully. That's the most important relationship I need." We sat in silence for a few moments, watching leaves fall from the trees. The world carried on around us, indifferent, but for the first time in weeks, I felt centered, unshaken. "Mayra," I said, standing, "this is the end of our story. I won't forget the past, but I won't let it define me. I'm moving forward, stronger, wiser." She stood too, tears streaming freely now. I understand. Thank you for hearing me, for letting me see you one last time." I nodded, feeling a sense of finality wash over me. "Take care of yourself, Mayra. Learn from your choices. Live honestly. That's all I ask." She smiled faintly, fragile but genuine. "Oh well. Goodbye, Hassan." "Goodbye, Mayra," I said, turning away. Walking toward my future, as I left, I felt an unexpected peace settle in my chest. The storm of betrayal, heartbreak, and revenge had passed. I was no longer the man crushed by loss. I was the man who had survived, grown, and reclaimed his dignity. And with that, the chapter closed not with anger, not with sorrow, but with strength, clarity. In the quiet triumph of self-transformation, I walked into the office, greeted by familiar faces, and felt something I hadn't in months come. Work was steady, projects lined up, and for the first time I was focused on growth rather than heartbreak. Ion. I called across the floor. He looked up, smiling, carrying 2 coffees. "You look different, man," he said, handing me one. "Not bitter, not broken. I've learned I said, taking a sip. Pain teaches. Betrayal teaches. And now I'm choosing lessons over regret. He laughed softly. I can tell. You've got that calm edge. Controlled, confident. People notice that. Confidence doesn't come from pretending to be okay, I said quietly. It comes from knowing you survived what could have destroyed you. I survived. I'm stronger because of it. Later my mother called. Hassan, your father and I are proud. You've handled everything with such grace. I smiled, a warm feeling spreading through me. Thanks, Mom. It wasn't easy, but I've realized I can't live in the past. I need to invest in the future myself, my career, my friendships, and your heart. She asked softly. I'm healing, I said honestly. I'll love again someday, but right now, I'm focused on growing into the man I want to be. One who isn't defined by someone else's choices. That evening, Ion and I went for a run. Remember the nights we sat up planning revenge? He asked, jogging beside me. I laughed, breathless but satisfied. And I realized now, the real victory wasn't in watching them falter, it was in regaining my own strength. Exactly, he said, nodding. All that strategy, all that patience, it wasn't just for them. It was for you, yeah, I said, thinking back to Mayra, the humiliation, the heartbreak, and the subtle payback. I was hurt, yes, but I chose to turn that pain into clarity, not bitterness. And look, we survived it, didn't we? We did, he said. And now, you're unstoppable. Don't let anyone forget that. Over the next few weeks, I dedicated time to old friends, reconnecting, laughing, rebuilding bonds I had neglected while consumed by heartbreak. I realized that life hadn't ended with her departure, it had simply shifted, giving me the chance to rediscover joy, loyalty, and genuine connection. One evening, at dinner with my parents, I shared a small victory from work. I finally closed that client deal I'd been chasing for months, I said, raising my glass. That's our boy, my father said, smiling proudly. You've come so far. We always knew you had it in you. I felt warmth fill me. The weight of betrayal was gone, replaced with determination and resilience. I had transformed. I wasn't the same man who had been left standing at the registry office. I was someone stronger, wiser, and more self-aware. Back at my apartment, I sat by the window watching the city lights. Ion dropped by, carrying a small cake. Celebrate your new beginning, he said with a grin. Thanks, I said, smiling. This isn't just about surviving Ion. It's about thriving, learning, not letting the past dictate my future. He raised an eyebrow. Philosophical now, huh? Maybe, I said, laughing. But that's the point. Life moves forward, and so do I later that night, alone with my thoughts. I reflected on everything heartbreak, betrayal, revenge, and eventual closure. Each moment had shaped me, honed me into someone who could endure, forgive internally, and emerge stronger. I knew I would always carry memories of Mayra, of love lost, and lessons learned. But I also knew I wouldn't let them weigh me down. I was free, capable, and ready to embrace the life I deserved. I closed my eyes, inhaling deeply. Hope filled me. The future was unwritten, bright with possibility. I had survived the storm, reclaimed my strength, and now I was ready for whatever came next. A new beginning wasn't just a phrase. It was my reality.